stated in my previous Doom vs Analog Horror videos that I should have been asking if Analog Horror can survive the Doomslayer, not the other way around. And it's finally here. We can see if Analog Horror's demons even stand a chance at surviving the Doomslayer. We all know who Doomslayer is. He's a human with godly strength, attributes, and only has one thing on his mind: kill all demons. That's his eternal mission, and we'll do a little power scaling throughout the video as we start with demonic entities that are standard and humanoid, and continue up towards the world-ending and celestial kind as the video goes on. That means that Doomslayer will have to face tougher and tougher adversaries made by different creators. So do you think they'll survive, or will he just rip and tear through them all? If you end up enjoying the video, a like and subscribe would be much appreciated, and everything I talk about will be linked in the description for you to check out too. I'll also have my second channel, Soda Jump, linked there as well. And with all of that being said, let's see if Analog Horror's demons can survive the Doomslayer.
Against all the evil that hell can conjure, all the wickedness that mankind can produce, we will send unto them only you. Rip and tear until it is done.
These demonic entities are going to be wishing they had some way to sleep soundly, knowing that the Doomslayer is out for them. But if you need help getting a good night's sleep, Manta Sleep, the sponsors of this video, have your back. They create the world's best sleep masks and functional sleep accessories for all of your sleeping needs. I own their standard sleep mask, Pro Sleep Mask, and now I'm the proud owner of their Sound Sleep Mask, and it took my sleep to the next level. The usual ultra comfy eye masks and 100% blackout effects so no light can get through them that you'd expect from Manta sleep masks are here, but with an added easy to connect to Bluetooth option so you can connect a device and listen to whatever you want to fall asleep to. This mask is incredible, and I love to listen to calm and relaxing music while using it, and you can too.
Spaghetti. 1990.
I also know that people like to fall asleep listening to YouTube videos like my own, and you can do it with ease. It helps that this mask is super comfortable too, and you can easily adjust the speaker's volume with the tabs on the sides of the mask. I sleep like a bit of an oaf, sleeping on my sides and stomach, and the mask never slipped off my head throughout the night. It's been great for my sleep, and they have a slew of other products too, ranging from cooling and steaming masks, a weighted therapeutic mask, something silky and luxurious, a kid's mask, sleep accessories to enhance your sleep, and more. So if you're interested in their sleep masks and accessories, use my link in the description to visit their website to shop and start your next steps to a better sleep. Thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. Now, let's take a look at our first demon. We're going to be starting off with the Basswood County Humanoids. I've talked about them before, and here I am to do so again, but for a good reason. On a power scaling level, a humanoid like this would be right at the bottom, which is a perfect place to start. Honestly, more humanoid analog horror demons and entities would be at the bottom here too, but I chose the Basswood County ones because I just really like them. They're definitely one of my favorite humanoid creatures in the genre, and I love the way the series is presented visually and from a story standpoint. Now, these things are the creations of Darkmind, a creator and artist who specializes in these designs. These entities have turned Basswood County and the surrounding areas into their hunting grounds. They'll stalk their potential victims and strike when the time is right. Usually, that means when they're alone, vulnerable, and their bodies are snatched up and worn by the humanoids and controlled. The process isn't very pretty and it's quite grotesque with how the humanoids steal your physical shell. In the series, there's a surprising amount of other details on how humanoids work, where they come from, and how they take over a victim's body. But let's focus on the big question at hand. Can the humanoids of Basswood County survive Doomslayer? Haha, well, he doesn't eat, drink, or even rest in his fight against demons spanning centuries. He's something akin to a god or being immortal. An inhuman and immense amount of strength, speed, agility, reflexes, stamina, endurance, and durability would be what faces the humanoids and everything else we'll be looking at. He can also use and absorb runes and argon energy to gain new abilities, upgrades to weapons, and stats. Absorbing the souls of the demons he kills to become stronger isn't off of the table either. He can utilize the Berserk and Haste power-ups which would kill or drive a regular human mad, and he's smart enough to be able to modify his Praetor suit. Shoutouts to you all that mentioned to me that in lore, Doomslayer is so strong that he doesn't need to use guns to kill most things, but does so because it would be too easy otherwise. And obviously, this is done from a gameplay and tactical perspective too. I knew that he was super strong and could punch whatever he wanted, but I didn't think it ran that deep. It really puts into perspective just how much he can do to take down any demon. The possibilities are endless, and that's what this goober and many others are going to have to deal with. For starters, the humanoids, they're not winning, okay? They are incredibly weak compared to the Doomslayer, let alone anything in his arsenal, and they're going to have to run and hide from him indefinitely. Depending on how recently they've taken a victim's body will determine how great their imitation will be. The longer time has passed, the better, which means that a humanoid could just blend into society to hide from the Doomslayer. Humanoids could also hide in extremely low traffic areas like sewers, abandoned buildings, and forests. Unfortunately for them, they're putting the lives of humans at risk, and the Doomslayer won't stand for that. So that means that they're going to be hunted all the way to the source. So if they hide on Earth, that means there's less humanoids to defend their realm where they come from. They come to Earth via a window in a chamber within Basswood County. The building was noted to look futuristic when first discovered, so their civilization may be more advanced than ours, but no matter. They have access to Earth, which means that Doomslayer can have access to their world. After all, he could just enter the window if he wanted to. So the only feasible way I can see humanoids surviving is if they stay on the low and honestly keep to themselves in the chamber and their realm. But they want to crawl into the skin of humans, and as soon as people start going missing, the Doomslayer will know and he won't be merciful. The whole of the humanoid species would feel his wrath, so I don't think they would survive because of their gluttony. Let's move up a little on the power scale and look at a monstrous creature, but not too monstrous yet. AZUNStudios, creator of the Prehistoric Emergence analog horror series, has us covered here with the Beast of the Earth, also known as the Dabbah. In Islamic teachings, the Dabbah is a creature that will emerge from the earth signaling the day of judgment, and that day has come for humanity. I really like this series, the dinosaurs within it, and it's one of my favorites in analog horror. I think that's mainly because I've always liked cool monsters and dinosaurs as a kid, and I guess that enjoyment has trickled into my adulthood and content in one way or another. But let's really take a look at this demon, the Dabbah. First of all, we learn that the Dabbah watches humans. For what purpose? Probably to study their behavior and learn something for a nefarious intent. Its appearance also evolves over time, which could indicate that it evolved into an apex predator or an ultimate life form of sorts when it was deep underground. But since Emergence, it needs to evolve again to adapt and become the ultimate predator. That's just a theory, but I think it's plausible. The creature is smart after all, being able to recognize what a camera is. As of making this video, we don't have any footage of the Dabbah's combat capabilities, but it's safe to say that it's as strong and capable as a T-Rex, but has the intellect and evolution capabilities of something we've never seen before. This makes it a master of adaptation and the second to the top of the food chain in an earthly environment. I say second because, haha, well, the Doomslayer is at the top. The Dabbah's capabilities are nothing compared to what the Slayer can do and wield, and he doesn't even need to wield anything. Any hand-to-hand combat against the Dabbah would result in a swift death for it. Any resistance it displays will only make its death slower and painful. It can try to hide, but how effective would a T-Rex be at hiding anyway? If it jumped back into the emergence hole it appeared from, then sure, that would be a better way for it to try to escape. But the Doomslayer, like a boogeyman, would be there waiting for it, and he wouldn't be opposed to following it into where it came from. He's jumped from various heights and survived, so of course he can do it again. Any stalking the Dabbah would do against the Doomslayer can have the same logic applied to it as well. And this fate isn't reserved to the Dabbah either. All threats to humanity that have emerged will suffer the same fate. It makes me wonder how he'd fare against the water creatures of prehistoric Emergence. He can swim just fine and doesn't need to go up for air, but it's just a matter of keeping up with the aquatic life. However, he'd definitely catch them off guard when they attack him, to say the least. It's an interesting thought, but anyway, no matter what the Dabbah does, it wouldn't be able to survive. Moving up the power scale, we have Shin, or Shinnick as he's also known as by Evanimus. This demon is a fave of mine and I've talked about him quite a bit recently, but I have a good reason to bring him up again. This giant, titan-like demon versus humanity's savior. Hell yeah. Shin is a killing and devouring machine in its most recent form, which is what we'll be taking a look at. It's powered up by Chaos thanks to the Chaos Emeralds, well, 5 out of 7 of them, and is extremely durable, so much so that it can regenerate its wounds in seconds. Not even a nuclear bomb was able to hurt Shin. That's a crucial piece of information the Doomslayer would need to come out on top. Blowing holes into Shin with his fists or with weaponry wouldn't prove to be useful if the damage can just be regenerated, although I do wonder how the BFG 10,000 would fare against it. Now, I see a few violent routes the Doomslayer could take. Spoilers, but it seems that Shin was created to end the world and maybe bring about a new world along with the help of a demonic ritual and the Chaos Emeralds that power it. The first thing I thought of that Shin might have to deal with is the BFG 10,000, the biggest weapon mankind has ever created. I really do think that a few shots with it would be able to absolutely devastate it. Any chance of Shin regenerating after being hit with a few shots from the weapon is little to none. This thing makes a nuclear bomb look like a fucking joke, and it's powerful enough to crack the surface of planets. We see that happen to Mars in Doom Eternal, and the same would happen here. However, Doomslayer would be pointing the weapon and shooting it at Earth, which would destroy continents and kill millions, if not billions. That's the opposite of protecting humanity, and he might not even have access to the weapon either. So it's fair to say that the BFG 10,000 isn't an option, so Shin would be safe from that. What I do think Shin would need to stop is Doomslayer taking back the Chaos Emeralds and destroying the idol that houses them. The Slayer would need to find where the idol is and fight his way there through any resistance. That resistance would be Shin and any other cultists that get in his way. The cultists wouldn't be an issue as they'd be as feeble as the possessed or zombies from the Doom series. They're nothing in the face of the Doomslayer. As long as Shin doesn't get in the way either, destroying the idol and taking back the Chaos Emeralds would be a piece of cake. But if it did get in the way of the Doomslayer, the Slayer would have to try to slow it down since, you know, Shin Sonic can regenerate its wounds. Punching or shooting through it will only result in a pointless back and forth, but to what extent is unknown. I mean, how far can only 5 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds take Shin Sonic? I think there would be a threshold that the Doomslayer could push past. With enough pressure, surely it would run out of chaos energy it's trying to regenerate and it wouldn't be able to heal its wounds. The ripping and tearing that would be witnessed by the world would be glorious as this demon is taken out. But that is if the Slayer could get past Shin Sonic's quills, which combined with its comatose state would be its best way to survive. In that state, it has a defensive mechanism where it fires out quills at any threats that get too close. I can see that being a thorn in the side of the Doomslayer. Humans and other weaponry being taken out by them is understandable, but he is a weapon that far surpasses them. A barrage of thorns might be an effective way to hold back Doomslayer only if he doesn't use anything to shield himself. So it doesn't seem likely that Shin Sonic would survive despite its best efforts. Shin Sonic isn't even at its strongest form in this video since there'll be more to come from Evanemess's series. So I think it would warrant another look at sometime in the future against Doomslayer, Sonic, or something else entirely. Next up on the power scale is something that can be seen as of similar strength to Shin Sonic, but I think it sits higher because we haven't seen what Shin is fully capable of. This threat doesn't rely on a ritual to destroy the world, and it's way more durable and crafty with how it destroys the human race. And that's the Medusa virus of Stone Cold, created by Mythical Films. The concept and implementation of the Demonize in the series and the ever-evolving virus behind it makes the Medusa virus a hell of a beast. To bring us up all to speed on what the Medusa virus is, I'll give a quick rundown of how it spreads and what it does. How it spreads is hinted at in the name. The mythological Gorgon, Medusa, would petrify humans into stone with her stare. Eye contact is the gain here, and once you're infected by someone with the previously mentioned Demonize, you only have a very limited time to act and surgically remove your eyes before the infection spreads throughout the body. If it spreads, your pupils would abnormally expand, you may feel heavy sweats, nausea, and pain in your upper face. Next comes muscle loss, near paralysis, blindness, extreme pain, possible severe nausea, vertigo, fainting, and possible death. In the final stage of things, more muscle mass is lost, the body goes through full paralysis from the neck down, loud voices can be heard, the victim will start screaming, and they may whimper for help. Strokes may occur, and the eyeballs will explode. If that all sounds very scary yet familiar to you, that's because I talked about it in my more analog horror entities you wouldn't survive against video. The virus also has a gaseous form to infect victims, can infect crops, and can infect birds to make them squawk so loud and high-pitched that it'll drive people out of their homes to investigate. Now, you're probably wondering how a virus like this could survive a human. Wouldn't a human be trying to survive it? Well, not in the Doomslayer's case, of course. The Slayer isn't above killing creatures that were once human, which means that he'd have no issue killing any infected. They're not allies of humanity anymore, and they create more infected, so they have to go. Doomslayer doesn't need to eat, so the crops are no issue, and he could simply shoot the birds out of the sky or tinker his suit to dampen their squawking. It would be easy for him to survive on an Earth like this, but we have to ask ourselves if he could get infected through someone's Demonize. It's implied that the virus attacks the amygdala of the brain through this eye transfer, and I don't think it would penetrate the Doomslayer's brain and body. I mean, come on, this guy getting infected by some sort of mortal affliction like this? Sure, it's extremely dangerous and powerful, but he's just too durable, and the same can be said for his neuroimmune system. Those godly-like powers take him very far, and how could they not? He doesn't eat, sleep, or drink water, his body just sustains itself. So if it can do all of that, how would he even get sick? His body would kill any viral threats in a heartbeat. This would give Doomslayer the reins to kill or destroy anything infected, but how do you truly kill off a virus like this? You couldn't possibly, right? That's just what viruses do. They adapt and evolve to spread and survive, which we see done rapidly in Stone Cold. You know, by infecting crops and birds, implying some sort of intelligence the virus has, used to weaken and whittle down humans to infect them. So it would be a long fight for the Slayer, ripping and tearing through infected to protect any remaining humans. But the virus will find a way to survive, and Doomslayer will push back its advancements in a continuous back and forth. But the Slayer will be there to fight back, eternally. And so we've looked at analog horror on our earthly plane, but for our last one, I want to look up to the stars and planets to see if they can survive the Doomslayer. Which brings us to Celestial Entropy by Black Dragonfish. This fascinating and surreal series is one I haven't looked at in a while, and this is a great excuse to do so. So if you didn't know, the entities in Celestial Entropy are the planets, moons, and other celestial bodies and wonders we know of in space, and they drive our main protagonist crazy. I mean, how could making contact with celestial beings not drive you mad? Just look at the amazing visuals of the videos. What can you even interpret? Us mere mortals are just these beings' playthings, but the Doomslayer isn't. Could they survive him? But what even are they? It's hard to say, but they would be equated to deities or gods. After all, their bodies and masses span so much space in the infinite vacuum of outer space. There are godly beings present in the Doom universe in the forms of the Makers, an advanced alien race from the realm of Urdak that are corrupted by the use of Argon energy, Dabbah, the original Dark Lord and a primeval created by the Father, who's an ancient and divine being that's meant to have created all of existence. All of these, except for the Father since there's been no confirmation, are humanoid in form. Killing a Maker and Dabbah was achieved by the Slayer, but a whole planet or unfathomably large deity? It seems that they would be able to survive. But what about the BFG 10,000? Yeah, enough hits using that could eventually punch a hole through a planet or kill it before that happens. I understand that the BFG 10,000 isn't the answer to everything, but come on, it's such a great answer. However, I have a feeling that a planet creature like this could move or do some damage to any giant cannon shooting at it, and that would destroy the BFG 10,000. Honestly, things would be a stalemate, meaning that the Celestials would survive. In the world of Doom, only a primeval can kill a primeval. The Slayer was made a primeval and he was able to kill Dabbah, so it's safe to say that the same could be said here. Doomslayer could kill the Celestials and they could kill him if there was a way and if they needed to. Celestials could even communicate with the Slayer or haunt him as well, but why would they? They could exist without interacting with each other. The Celestials don't come off as stupid either. They come off as ancient and cryptic to us mortals, and they would know that Doomslayer is the protector of humanity and Earth. So why would they invoke him when they know they can just continue existing with no threats if they spook and drive a few people mad here and there? They don't have to go overboard or anywhere near that. They're very far away from the Earth, but they wouldn't want to test the extent of the Doomslayer. They'll survive if they don't, because he'll find a way to destroy them if he needs to, some way and somehow. Well, there we have it, and what did we learn today? It's fair to say that the only way for any analog horror demon to survive the Doomslayer would be if they didn't threaten the earth and the lives of us humans. Even so, a lot of them just can't help themselves, and the ones who can are one slip up away from the Slayer's wrath. They know that, and they know not to invoke him, so they'll live as long as they don't. But that doesn't mean that the Doomslayer can't beat them, far from it. So, thank you all for watching, and let me know if the Slayer could do things differently, or if he would, dare I say, lose. Like, subscribe, and check out my second channel Soda Jump, linked in the description if you want to see more from me. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring this video. If you're interested in their sleep masks and accessories, use my link in the description to visit their website to shop and start your next steps to a better sleep. And as always, we can't forget the shout out to my lovely patrons and YouTube members, and a big shout out to the highest tier Patreon members, Joel, Matthew Colgrove, and La Creatura. Thank you both for your continued contributions, and thank you to everyone else too. You guys are absolute legends. Stay tuned for more content like this. Everything talked about will be in the description if you want to further look into them, and I'll catch ya in the next one.
You remain unbroken, for your fight